First off, if you've been following my channel or any of my other builds, my truck, my car, the side-by-sides, anything like that, I just want to give a huge shout out to you guys and thank you for all the support. But this video is for people who either haven't been watching or want to see a full rundown now that the car is done being built. And stay tuned for the end because I actually have a surprise for you about this car, but we'll get more into that a little bit down the road. So first things first, I want to talk about how this car became to be this car and why it's here sitting in the driveway. So one of my first vehicles was a muscle car. It was a 91 Camaro, and it made me fall in love with the V8. I love the sound of it. Of course, we made it as loud as we could. We put a sweet sound system in it, tinted the windows, and that was in high school. So I mean, you can imagine a 91 muscle car, loud exhaust, loud sound system. We were just, you know, the obnoxious teenagers. So now that I'm a little bit more grown up, still have the muscle car, still have the loud exhaust, and I guess now I'm just an obnoxious adult. But really, I think it just boils down to the fact that when I bought that car, I already had a love for cars, and that just, it really made me stick to the love of cars. So I traded that car for a Mustang. It was a V6 and it was a Procharged Mustang, and it was manual, and I didn't even know how to drive manual when I asked the guy if he would trade. And I asked my sister to go with me so she could drive the car home because I didn't know how to drive manual, and I needed her to test drive it because I didn't want to tell the guy that I didn't know how to drive manual. And so anyway, long story short, I ended up getting an I think it was an 01 or a 99, I can't remember. It was a Procharged V6 Mustang. So now we have a 2021. I bought this brand new in January, on January 2015, and then we decided to Procharge it. Since then, I've fallen in love with Mustangs. I've had probably 25 or 30 of them since then. Nothing like this one. This is the nicest and the highest horsepower one and the loudest that we built for sure. So anyway, that's how the car got here in the driveway. Now, when I bought it, it was bone stock. I'll put the picture up the day of it that I bought it, and this is what it looks like now. So I'll start with the cosmetics on the outside, and then I'll go into what's done with it and more of that. So for the front bumper, we have the GT500 front bumper, and I got a lot of crap for this because people are saying that I wanted to be a GT500 or I was replicating a GT500 when that's not the case at all. I just really like the way that that bumper looks and the way that we had it painted. So it is all gloss black and Oxford white, and all of this was custom taped and painted to be those exact same color specs. The grills behind, the air vents right here, and all the way in the front, all of that was pulled apart and painted black and Oxford white, and really just a lot of time and money into that. So since I went with the GT500 front end, a lot of people would think that I would go with the GT500 hood, which is not the case. On this one, we went with the 2.5-inch Cobra R Cal Cervini's hood. And the reason why we did that is because nobody does the Cobra R hood with the GT500. Usually it's the Cobra R bumper with the Cobra R hood, GT500 bumper with the GT500 hood, or people will put one or the other on the car. So you'll see a GT500 hood on a stock GT or whatever. And so this right here is not something that you see quite often, and that's why I wanted it done like this. Originally, we were going to go with the 4-inch Cal hood, but Sam talked me out of it, and I think rightfully so. I like the way that this hood looks better with the extra body line in there, and it ties in with the GT500 bumper. So you've got the line here, this line goes nowhere, and then this line and the point right here all tie in. So I actually think it looks really, really good. As far as the windshield, so to tie off the whole front end, the windshield, we got the brow up top, the tint strip is what you'd call it, so that the tint sits just a little lower. And I was going to do it on the bottom, but with the Cal hood you can't really see out anyway, so I didn't figure why waste the money on it. One thing we did take off is we did cut off the canards because the GT bumper doesn't line up with the GT500 bumper, and so it actually stuck out just a little bit and it looked a little weird. So I just got rid of that so that it looked like our tire stuck out quite a bit more. Moving on to more cosmetic stuff, we did blacked out badges. So black badges with the red dot there. The stock ones are chrome. It came with the paint match mirrors stock just because the package that it is. On the back, we did a replica GT500 wing, carbon fiber, and the reason why I wanted that is because I love the GT500 wing. I don't want to be a GT500. I don't claim it's a GT500. I'm not trying to replicate one. Again, I like the way it looks. So on the back, we didn't end up doing this carbon fiber. I actually liked the way that looked, and I planned to end up doing the GT white, but we just didn't get to that yet. In the back, we've got the blacked out Euro style tail lights, which actually make or break the rear end of one of these cars. I mean, as you can tell, besides the wing and the exhaust, it already came with the quad tip exhaust. So even stock exhaust, that's all we needed to do to the back of the car. Super, super cheap. I mean, I think it's under 500 bucks, and then the wing and the back of the car looks great. One thing that we did do as well is we took this reverse light out and took the yellow one, switched it over to a white LED. The quad tip exhaust is the black Cerakoted or whatever it is. The tips are black. It's the active valve exhaust. It's a Borla attack system, so it's Borla's loudest system. And in front of those, we have long tube catless headers, and then we'll get into the engine and performance and power and all that stuff in just a little bit. So that's really all we did for the rear. For the license plate, we did retired because when I bought this car, it was actually the day that I left my big corporate job to spend more time at home with the family and making YouTube videos and content. So I retired from my big job and went on to be a small local creator. That's really it for the back of the car. As far as exterior stuff goes, the rest of it, I mean, that's really it. I never ended up doing the side markers here, which I was gonna do blacked out. I never got around to it. And everything is IGL ceramic coated. So everything is paint protected with the top of the line ceramic coat. And I mean, when you have a vehicle like this, or really any vehicle that's significant value to you, I mean, I think getting it ceramic coated is a great thing to do. If you guys aren't really familiar with ceramic coat, look up some videos and whatnot. But long story short is it protects your paint from getting scratched. It makes it easier to clean. It makes it easier to maintain. It makes it so there's not as many things etched into your paint like bugs or tar from the road. It's a paint protection. Moving on to the inside of the car. So this is my favorite part of the car besides the engine and performance, I think. So what we did here, as you can see kind of right here in the dash, we've got all honeycomb carbon fiber overlays. We've got a white custom honeycomb carbon fiber steering wheel with shift lights, an LCD screen, factory retained heated, and a custom white bag cover with the black horse. The whole dash is carbon fiber, or honeycomb carbon fiber, to match that steering wheel, and that steering wheel was custom built for us by Dyna Performance. For floor mats, we have Manichi Luxury Diamond Auto Style floor mats, and those are in every one of our vehicles. They're in the Platinum, they're in the Range Rover, they're in the Mustang, and heck, if we had floor mats in the X3, I'd probably put them in there too. So back here, we also put a trunk mat to match our floor mats, and yes, it has a factory 10-inch subwoofer with a Bang & Olufsen sound system. So that's really it for the interior. That's it for the cosmetic stuff. Now let's talk about what tires we have on the rear. These are factory 20-inch aluminum Ford wheels, which are actually quite an expensive option. I think it's like 12 or 1300 bucks just for these wheels. So a 20-inch wheel, 9.5 wide. For tires, we have the Nito NT555s, and they're the G2s. So this is actually a 285 tire, and the next thing that I think we were going to do was wheels and tires. But I'll tell you why we're not in just a little bit. So let's hurry and move on to the engine, and I think that wraps it up for the overview of the car. So this is where a lot of the fun is. Outside it looks great, but underneath the hood we have a Procharger supercharger that is powder coated Oxford white to match the car. So here you can see we've got our coolant tank. This was, and here we've got our head unit. This was installed by Premier Performance down in Midvale, Utah, and they did a great job. On the dyno, it put down 761 wheel horsepower, 589 rear wheel torque. So if you guys know, these Coyote motors are not huge torque monsters, but you can definitely pump a lot of horsepower out of them. Mm-hmm. Alrighty guys, so now for the news that I promised you guys at the beginning of the video that you weren't going to want to miss. So now that we've gone ahead and done a full overview of the car, I guess I should let you guys know this car is actually already sold and is pending pickup, and the buyer will be here in, well, less than 12 hours. So this car didn't last very long in our driveway, and there's a couple reasons for it. One, we're trying to build a house, so stay tuned for that. It's going to be on this channel or over at the Roddy Ranch, maybe a little bit of both. But not to mention, with that, we're also going to be getting a new car. It's not going to be a Mustang. That we don't think it's going to be Mustang. I don't know exactly for sure yet what it's going to be 100%, to be honest with you guys, but I can tell you that we're going to make it look as good as we did to this. Tell us what you guys would like to see be built on the channel. If you're wondering about cold starts, flybys, revs, exhaust clips of this car, I'm going to go ahead and put a link right here. So thank you guys for watching and continuing to support on the channel. Can't wait to see you guys on the next build, and we'll catch you then.